what's the idea you had for like a group me alternative?
Oh yeah, so GroupMe is pretty much like one of the only competitors in its space. There are other messaging apps, but with GroupMe, it's really taken the college student landscape. It's taken over even past that to like a lot of people, like a lot of Gen Zs, a lot of even some millennials are using GroupMe. It's just like a app that kind of does it all as far as groups go. But there are a few gaps in it that I think that another app could come in and fill those gaps in, and then become a competitor to GroupMe.
Okay.
So, for example, there's in GroupMe, it's an okay app. It does the job, but there are features that it could have from iMessage or any other messaging app that could make it like a lot better. That can make the experience a lot better for its users. And we don't see GroupMe putting in much effort besides adding like one or two minor features here and there and some bug fixes. They pretty much kept the app the same. If you went back in 2016, it's pretty much the same as what it is now. So I think without much innovation on it, it's there's room for a competitor.
Awesome, dude. Um, so who's your target market for? Let's just give it a name.
Okay,
Idea X. Okay,
idea
so
X.
who's the target market for Idea X?
The target market is generally the same as the target market for GroupMe. But to narrow it down, I think the target market I want to start with is probably college students.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about reasonable. College students in the U.S. specifically, or is it even
Yeah,
college
just
students around?
somewhere local. Yeah.
Okay. Um, and then great. So I think the first thing we want to do before we figure out what experiments you want to run to see whether or not like there would be demand for a group me competitor is
Hmm.
let's figure out how to put together like some kind of specific hypothesis.
Okay.
So generally it's like it's written like XYZ format. X% of your specific market will like engage in this way with your idea. So let's write down something and we can like always adjust it later. So
Okay.
what percent of college students in the let's start with college students in Washington. What
Okay.
percent of college students in Washington do you think will download
Idea
app
X.
X?
App X.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. So for my hypothesis, I'd say probably around 10%. It's a little bit of a low goal, but um, you know, with GroupMe being such a a big stakeholder in that little market, uh, I think it's a little bit harder to get an app like people to switch to another app at first.
Okay. So would it be accurate to say at least 10% of college students in Seattle will download Idea X and use it and use it regularly?
Sure,
Okay. Um,
could be a little high though, but
it's okay. That's perfect. So hyper zooming is basically like when you like kind of like zoom in and like make it kind of like more narrow. So which is kind of
okay,
like what we've already done. Um, so now I've already done that. Let's dive straight into some prototyping methods. So to start off with, let me think. How do we want to do this? So I know we talked about some ideas a little bit already.
hmm
Let's kick it off with some ideas that you have on how you'd like to prototype to see whether or not like um people would really want to people would really there would really be demand for a group meet alternative. So
okay.
what are some initial ideas that you had based on like just looking at this stuff?
So off the basic prototyping techniques, or you're just talking about in general?
Like just any you can use
Okay,
any method you want for idea X
okay.
as long as it works.
Um, so I was thinking that I can get like since I do know development, I can create like a simple starter app, um, within like a week. Just take like some template from online, modify it a bit, put the name on there, AppX or whatever I decide to call it, and then just kind of beta test it with some people, some Seattle students.
Okay.
Yeah.
So simple starter app. Okay. And then kind of going off of that, how would you get it, and how would you get, once you produce like this really basic app, how would you get it in front of students, and how would you get in front of students? That's the first question.
How do I get in front of students? I'd probably visit some college campuses. In this area, it would be UW, obviously big one right there. Maybe put out a sign somewhere saying, download this app. I haven't really put too much thought into it. I'm not exactly sure how I would do it. So, do you have any ideas?
We're in COVID era, so we can't really. So we got.
Okay.
So I think the smart
Right.
idea is to like, you want to try to like, whatever prototype idea you have, you want to like try to keep most of your outreach online.
That's true. That's true.
I think I like the. I think, different ones are good for different people, right? So like, would you say you're comfortable enough with like, software development to like build like a simple group me alternative like quickly?
An entire group me alternative?
Or basic,
No,
a real
but
basic version
basic
of group,
one, yes.
a basic group me alternative with the differentiating features you had in the back of your mind.
The features might be a little more to add because there's just a bunch of stuff that would have to code separately that doesn't come with like a basic starter like template, but I'm sure I can figure something out.
There's a few ideas that you could try out, right?
Yeah.
One is you could, without even coding it, I think. So one idea is, we talked about it. You could do you can do a quick landing page with the concept.
Mm-hmm.
You do a quick landing page with the concept, and then use your measurement of hypothesis, kind of like how many people sign up with their email, and then just like emphasize the features that are like more, that stand out more, right? So for example, if you wrote like a landing page, what are like the specific features that you want to add onto GroupMe? So like, not just I'm gonna add some things from iMessage, but okay, specifically, what are like one or two things that you would add to this new this new college student messaging platform that would really make it stand out from its competition?
That would really make it stand out. Well, I'd say some of those would be just like updating the UI. I know that GroupMe UI is a little bit outdated. Even though like people aren't really like looking for the UI, it's something that's like I feel like would be subconscious, and just make the app feel already a lot better, just a little bit.
Okay.
Additional features, I probably say reacting to messages with more than just a like. I mean, almost every messaging app has that now. You go to Facebook Messenger, you can put a dislike, you can put a heart, you can put a laughing emoji. iMessage can do the exact same thing. WhatsApp can't, but that's WhatsApp. They've already secured themselves, and they don't need to worry. But yeah, I just feel like that could be added to GroupMe, especially because in GroupMe there's only one way to like respond to things. It's just a like button. So if you were to add like dislike button, a heart, or just something else that kind of like makes it more interactive, especially between like if it's like a class, would help increase like the group dynamics, I guess. That's just like one example.
So I think, based on the example you gave to me, I think one way to test to see whether or not how interested college students would be in something like this is like, rather than like try to build out the whole app, you can try to just like build out the home screen.
Okay.
So imagine if you just like curated, how you used to be like really good at using Figma?
Yeah.
So like,
Oh yeah, you're saying you use Figma to prototype it.
Just make a home. Don't even make anything else. Just a home screen.
Okay.
So if you can make one home screen, and then write some like really basic copy, like, okay, app X is the new greatest app for is the next generation of college communication, and then you can like write down just a couple basic features. Interested, sign up with your email address to get updates. right? And then that's if it was a free app. Now, from what we talked about yesterday, so is it still going to be like a no subscription type of app? Is it still going to be like 100% free for users?
That I'm not sure about. I do want it to be, generating profit. So that means I do have to use a subscription. I may need to put a subscription on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't need to think about the subscription right away. But like, would you say like, come to think of it right now, like, would you like if App X becomes really successful, is it because like it had lots and lots of downloads, or is it because you had like a high conversion rate to like your hypothetical subscription?
I think the success measure would be if there was a lot of conversion rate with the subscription in place. Like if people decided that they would want to buy the app, they would want to pay for a subscription.
Okay.
And then I think that's determines how successful it is, because downloads don't. If it's a free app, downloads don't mean anything, because it means your app's popular, but if you don't have a way of generating profit from it, it's not really that successful. So
Yeah, I feel that. And so like with like a subscription model, so imagine if, of course, you had like a free version of App X and it's able to do like a certain amount of like features. If you had like a paid version of App X, like what would you anticipate, adding on that like you think a user would be willing to pay up for?
that I would have to think about. But I think there would have to be features that separate it from the competition, especially since GroupMe is already free. I'm not sure how they make their money, but they are free. And I think that is a big reason that people would choose GroupMe over AppX. So there would have to be like some other feature that people would choose AppX over GroupMe for. That I haven't thought about. So.
Okay, and that's fine. You don't have to think about everything in one go. So I think maybe we can like run the part 2, the Pretotype test later, and like first we can see if like will people download the free version of App X over GroupMe, and so to do that we can get a basic landing page with one home screen, with like your newly envisioned UI, and then seeing like how many college students would like put their email down, and then you can kind of like change your Facebook ad settings to like, okay, like people that say that they attend the University of Washington. I guess we use one university for like, I guess, this experiment, right? So people that attend University of Washington, and then just kind of see like what what the overall amount of email signups would be. Now I know it's a little bit vague, but like how many email signups would you like to see?
I mean, as many as possible. If I can get a lot of them, then that means there's a lot of interest. So.
Okay, that's fair enough. And then actually, it's interesting you mentioned that. So, phone numbers are better for validation than emails.
Really?
Yeah. Phone numbers are better for validation than emails.
Well, here's the thing with the app. Since it is going to be a GroupMe competitor, on GroupMe, you don't technically need a phone number. I think you can just sign up with your Google account, Microsoft account, Apple. So you don't need a phone number for it. And I think that's what sets GroupMe apart from even like WhatsApp. WhatsApp, you can't use the app without a phone number. What is it? Telegram, can't use it without a phone number. Even though they're both good for groups, can't use them without a phone number. So I think that's what sets GroupMe apart. And that's why there's not many competitors to it, because most of them require phone numbers. And if they didn't, then GroupMe would be competing with like WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, and whatever other apps there are out there.
Sweet, awesome. So I think pretty much. So I think we almost got it. Yeah, I think we almost figured out what your initial Pretotype is gonna be. Unless you have other things that you wanna try out. I think basically we can just do like your good old simple landing page with and then we could spend, I don't know, maybe $20-$30 on ads, for example. So then this would be like let's say a $30 ad exercise, and I'd assume you're pretty comfortable building landing pages.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick landing page with the Figma thing on it. You could probably, I would recommend seeing if you can like build it so simply that you can like build it in like an hour.
Okay.
Once you do that, then Once you do that, then we'll chat some more, and then we'll do phase 2.
All right.
What do you think?
Sounds good.
Awesome, dude.
Thanks.
There you go. And that was it.